here from Oval Window Racing and back in the garage. Yeah, it's a little chilly out, and what I'm going to do today is Simon here. I've never really fine-tuned the cold startup, and I'm going to talk about the cold startup a little bit. And since it's cold out, good time to start it. Or good time to start. Good time to start. Try tuning it. I can talk today, and got a little studio set up here. Bringing up Tuner Studio right now as we speak. And I'll remind you, this isn't a how-to. This is what not to do. I've never really fine-tuned the cold up start and Simon, and well, I've never really fine-tuned it, the startup, just because once you really get past the warm-up process, everything else seems to work, and it is somewhat confusing. But all right, now we got our little menus up here, and we do have a startup and idle menu. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things on here. And they are quite tricky. Basically, we're going to start here with the primer pulse. And did a little discussion with Jeremy. You guys have probably seen Jeremy in some previous videos. He's the gentleman that's kind enough to help me out getting Simon to the track and back. And he's really into Volkswagens and other cars, and kind of specializes in carburetors. And I've got experience with carburetors too. That's what we basically all started out with if you're my age. Old. But when you're looking at the this, I tried to tell him that. I said, he said he'd like to help, but he goes, he doesn't understand all this. But when you come to the whole Tuner Studio and the EFI, the thing to think is back to carburetors. And might be tough for some of you guys that never run carburetors, but a lot of you guys that are probably watching videos in the Volkswagens have probably had a spill with carburetors or two. But when we were talking the primer pulse here, my understanding is if you come over here, nice thing about Tuner Studio is we can hover over, or maybe even click on it. We can just hover over the question mark, and then this little menu pops up here, and it says, the primer pulse is used to wet the intake manifold walls and provide some initial startup fuel. So the way I kind of understand by reading this is like in the old carburetor days, you would pump the carburetor gas pedal, basically a few times to activate the accelerator pumps to shoot that raw fuel down into the manifold, helping the startup process. And I've been kind of playing with this, the whole thing with this Tuner Studio. When you first get it and download it, it's kind of got default settings, and this was set really rich. And yeah, my first time I started up Simon here with this, I basically fogged for mosquitoes. The whole garage, my eyes were just watering because there's so much fuel in the air. It was basically because of this. So I wound up just going in here and taking a lot of the fuel out just to get the car started up. And yeah, I got the start, and I was kind of happy with the way it was. But now I'm just kind of wanting to fine-tune things. And earlier, I have been playing with this a little bit, and I took, I think, too much out because we have a few other settings in here. So I'm going to go and just add a few more, and we're going to key on Simon so I can show you something. So we got Simon, he's hooked up, and now if you look, I don't know if you can see it here, but the 50, this is the coolant temperature, and I read oil, so we'll say it's the oil temperature, but it says it's 50 degrees. Now I have a 6 in there. I'm going to change that to an 8. We're going to try that, and then we're going to go down here where it says 70 degrees, and I'm going to bring that up some, and then at 90 degrees I'm going to bring it up a little bit more. So we'll select burn. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read the Tuner Studio manual. They do have a manual you can read on this, but I almost believe they said with the primer pulse, you kind of got like one shot at this per cold start. If I remember correctly, I don't remember if I read it on a form or read it on here, but once you go and turn the key and it kind of fires, then you kind of got to let the car cool back down, you know, basically wait 12 hours or so before you try it again. And so we're done with that one. And we're going to go to this cranking pulse. And the cranking pulse, we'll hover over there. This percentage table controls the fuel injected when the engine is cranking over. So as you're turning the key, this is cranking over some fuel. There's also adding fuel. And actually it gives you some little hints on here. Come back up there. It says most engines need 200 to 400 when cold. I actually got it set at 200 right now for this temperature. And it's actually, yeah, it is 50. The clock says 53 degrees. And then near 100% when warm. So I'm gonna crank that up again. We're gonna go to 300 and at 70, 180. I think I'll keep that. We need to click on another one to get it to burn, so we're gonna burn that. And we're done with that. And then some of the other settings here. We got after start enrichment, one's a taper. I think those are kind of the same thing. Then there's this warm up enrichment. I usually kind of change some stuff on here. But I did notice a big difference when I changed some of the numbers in here. And this is after the engine's running. And it kind of adds a little bit more fuel. More fuel than what's on the VE table. And I'll show you the VE table here. And we'll just say that my spark plugs now like me a little better than they did before. Because I did notice after I got started, it always seemed to run a little rough until the engine was warmed up. Alright, now is the time to tell you what not to do. I should have this as a session. Don't do what Clint does. But over here in the fuel, we have our VE tables. You actually have your air fuel table. You kind of set that to where you want your air fuel to be. I don't mess with that one much. And maybe once I get into, I'll probably going to have to study it a little bit more when I want to run some E85, because I got to change those tables. Unless there's an E85 table, but this is the VE table. Now, this is where your fuel is supposed to be, and this is kind of where I've been tuning for the last 3 years. And I know if you guys know what a VE table looks like, mine may not look right. I don't know. It seems to work well for me, but this is the main thing that the computer goes by when it's injecting the cylinders, and it's based on the manifold pressure and what RPM you're at. So basically, whether you're under vacuum, your vacuum is going to be down here. And I don't tune too much down here because I'm turbocharged with boost, so I concentrate more up here. But when I say don't do what I do, is when I was first playing with this EFI, I would jump in the car, fire it right up, and I'd come right to this table, and as the car was warming up, I would start moving this around. But you kind of got to do this backwards. And I know it's kind of hard to understand because you start the car up first and it's in its warm-up cycle. But basically, you have to get the car to operating temperatures before, get down here, operating temperatures before you start messing with the VE table. And you actually want to set your VE table before you really start setting your cold startup. And that's probably why I've never really played with this much, because I'm always focused on the VE table. And, you know, I really can't tell you, probably every engine's going to be different, but I can't really tell you where the proper operating temperature of your engine is going to be. But it looks like I've kind of got it right around 130 degrees is apparently where I consider it fully warmed up. Because in this warm-up enrichment, and I should say this for another video, but this is another thing. Don't do what Clinton does. When you're at your warm-up enrichment, when you come here it says 100, that is, I think the way to understand it is means that the engine is now going by the VE table 100%. And even if you do come over here, where'd my little question mark go? There's probably a faster way of doing this. But we're in no hurry. There's the question mark. I think it even says in here that once at full warm-up, final row and table, 100% must be specified in the table here. Otherwise the car will sit there and idle, but when you try to get under load, it won't go anyplace. Ask me how I know. And I think kind of the other way to understand this is, I don't really know if it's percentage, but I got 104 at 80 degrees. That's still saying we'll add a little bit of fuel if it's still 80 degrees. I think I've probably ran that 100 before too. And I probably should go down a little bit more, just because it did run still a little rough. I think I will make some changes here. I'll just go down to 104 there. And since we're pushing close to 40 degrees, let's go to 108 there. I don't know if I'm ever going to start it up when it's 20 degrees. There's probably going to be that one possibility, but yeah, let's open up some garage doors and see how Simon likes that. All right, looks like the O2 sensor's ready. Let's see if it's going to fire. Oh. Yeah, looks like I still need a little more work. Probably, it's hard to tell because, like I said, I don't know what I got going on here, and wonder where my microphone is for that. Well, hopefully the camera. We'll try out the microphone on the new camera back here, see how well that works. You guys could probably hear me in both ears right now. I gotta get a new microphone for the GoPro there. It's only single channel for some reason, but yeah, probably the cranking pulse. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more fuel in the cranking pulse and see how that works. But I'll have to do that probably tomorrow after everything cools down. Because I can't remember if it was the cranking pulse or the primer pulse, or if it was both of those that you kind of got to work on when the engine is like sat for a while. And we've already got a little bit of heat in the cylinders. And I may take a little more fuel out of the warm-up enrichment there too, because the O2 sensor was still reading, about 13. I think I want to get it closer to 4. So it seems like the closer I can get it to run at 14, the less it wants to stumble back there. But yeah, the next thing is going to be to get Simon over into the storage area. So it's going to be a fun trip. All right, everybody, we're back here again after trying this cold start again, and it's a little cooler today. I got indoor temperature 51. It says 53. Maybe it's not much different. It feels a little cooler. Got a jacket on. But I'm going to get in here. Again, a little screwdriver for startup. I'm not going to touch the primer, but now I think I want to add a little more to the cranking pulse. And again, I got the ignition keyed on Simon, and In here it says we're roughly 53. And let's go review. Standing? Yeah, I'm still standing in front of the camera. Try not to stay in front of the camera this time. This percentage of say so 2 to 400. So I got 350 at 30. Let's go with 350 here. I'll move these up to 400. And then at 70, let's pump that up to 200. Probably won't know what that's like until next summer. And I'll have to remember, what did I do? So yeah, that looks like a good curve, I guess you'd say. Let's hit the burn. And again, I emphasize that it's best to make sure you got your VE table all set, because that's what the car or the computer goes by. As you're saying that's your book, your Bible, and then what we're doing here is just basically adding more fuel. So let's jump in, Simon, and see how it goes. All right, guys. Let's see how it goes. Well, before I do hit the key, I will remind everybody, probably reminded before, I'm not using an idle control valve. Idle control valve is my foot, and those would make it a lot easier. It's like your cars you drive now. You pretty much just get in there, turn the key, and they fire right up. Tuner car. And I did see one of my buddies, Steve's, pretty much got almost the same setup, but it's in a Carmagia, beautiful Carmagia. If you remember the last Martin Bug run, I got a few shots of it there. He does have an idler control valve, and he's running the same throttle body I am. I just don't have mine hooked up because I used the circuit in the ECU for a two-step or a launch control, I like to call it, instead. So I resort to the old foot. Maybe if we do set Hubert up, I'll try to set the launch control up. There's two ways in this Mega Squirt 2. The Mega Squirt 2, there's two ways of putting the launch control in, and I took the easier route because I'm not a electronic genius, far from it. But yeah, maybe we'll do a little more research and try to ask some questions and figure out how to do it the other way, so Emily can actually have a control valve. So it does make it a lot easier. Let's go. Oh, I might have to add some primer pulse. Oh, he's angry. Here we go, guys. That's right, I got Simon down in the basement. Took some measurements and figured he would fit, so good old Simon here, he gets to enjoy the winter in the nice, warm basement. Hope you enjoy it, Simon. Understand, you know, we're going to be working on Hubert. Yeah, I know you get jealous, but you got the cozy basement. Hubert's still out in the garage. Yeah, but that was fun, kind of scary, but I got her down without any damage. So, as always, keep shifting those gears. We'll see you later.